I am here with Will Fleury. He is fighting at Oktagon 56 on the 20th of April. His Oktagon debut, obviously a big fight coming up. So, Will, how's everything feeling heading into this one?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Looking forward to getting in there and smashing a cunt and then progressing on from here.
Well, we were just talking a moment ago. You mentioned you are still in Vegas. So, when do you head over for the fight? Are you going a little early to acclimatize, or?
So look, I live in Ireland normally, so Birmingham isn't much of an acclimatization, but it's the time gap. So like I'm 8 hours behind Irish time right now. But I fly out on Monday of fight week. So there will be a little bit of an adjustment period there. But I generally find if I do a little bit of a hard cardio session once I arrive, that I kind of feel pretty exhausted and I get a good sleep. So that's what I'm planning on doing on Monday. So I arrive back into Ireland on Monday and then I fly to Birmingham on Thursday, but that's like 30-minute, 40-minute flight.
And that's what I was thinking too. I mean, you do live in Ireland, but you've been in Vegas for a bit. How long have you been out there training?
3 weeks now.
Okay, not bad. And where are you training? Who are you training with?
So I'm training in Extreme Couture and it's mostly Sean Strickland and lads like, so I was very lucky with the time I came out, which is one of the main reasons I came. I was kind of in contact with Eric and Sean a little bit. Um, Alex Polizzi's preparing for a fight. Sid Busai's preparing for the fight. They have the light heavyweight tournament on Friday night. So I got some great spars in with them over the last couple of weeks. And then Sean as well. He's always in the gym and he's always pushing everyone, and he's the main character in there who kind of keeps the vibe going, if you know what I mean. Even this week, he's the guy who's really pushing it. So it's kind of mostly been that crowd. Like, there, in fairness, like, there's a lot of big guys here. And SPG, my two main training partners will be Johnny Walker and Carl Moore. And Carl just fought for the Bellator title, so he's not like apparently he said he's going to be back training the next week or two, but I thought he'd be out for a lot longer. He wasn't going to be able to spar for the fight, and Johnny's just had the nose break and whatever, so he's back training, but he's not sparring. So like I came out here to get some spars off big lads, and there's a ton of big guys out here, so it's been great. Like,
Well, I don't want to take the focus too much off of you, but obviously Extreme Couture, you mentioned Eric Nixick there, Sean
mm,
Strickland, of course. Chris Curtis just fought, unfortunate about the
mm.
hamstring injury. But Strickland in particular has a reputation for those hard sparring sessions. So what has that been like?
Yeah, like he's not insane. Like it's in look, I enjoy a good goal as well. And I think sometimes the media gets a little bit carried away with things. And like, look, he's the type of guy who's going to put pressure on you, but in a way where it's not ridiculous, it's not retarded. Like, as in, it's not something where you're going to be, hurting each other. It's more just you're gonna fucking fight. You're gonna go. Um, and I enjoy that. I really love that buzz. Like, as in, it's something that I buy into myself. And like, look at home, I kind of feel like maybe sometimes for the higher level guys, because there's a time, and look, the majority of your spars should be skill development, and the majority of your work should be skill development. But there's a time and a place when you're coming up to a fight that you need a little bit of pressure put on you. And I enjoyed the fact that he's the type of guy who's like, okay, let's go and do that. And I love that. Like I said, I buy into that big time. So I'm very grateful for the fact that I was here for that period of time where I did need that little bit of a push. And I got that little bit of a push and it was a buzz, as in like I always love those moments, if you get me.
Well, it sounds like a good situation then. Obviously going to be beneficial going into this fight. Of course, you've been off for a little while. Sounds like you're getting the right kind of work in, but any concern at all in terms of ring rust, anything like that?
Not really. Like I was pretty active for the most of the period of time I was away. I had Carl preparing for a lot of fights, so I was sparring him quite a bit. Um, like it's the longest, what's it, just over a year since I fought. It is the biggest break I've had, but I've had breaks of close to a year before, and obviously I fought throughout COVID as well, and it was very like scattered where you'd have a fight and 8 or 9 months and then another fight. It's really not that different to that period of time. So again, I always think as well, like, man, so much of this stuff, it's how big a deal you make it. So if you were in the cage last month or if you were in fucking 2 years ago, is that in your head? Because otherwise, just do what you're going to do. Follow your patterns. Go in and smash the guy. If you make your focus going in there and smashing that guy, that's what you'll go and do. If you make it like, oh, am I going to be rusty because I fucking haven't fought here? Maybe you'll feel that. Where you put your focus is going to determine how real something like that is.
Makes sense. And obviously, you mentioned the time away. You had the suspension. We also saw
Mm.
a lot of PFL fighters suspended in that stretch. Rob Wilkinson just came back. You were actually scheduled to fight him. Kind of
Yeah.
a two-part question in this. What happened, if you cared to talk about it? Was like it a supplement issue or something? And then, Wilkinson, like I said, came back. Was there any talk of you going back to the PFL?
There was for sure. Like, it was funny because they left me kind of in limbo for a lot of the time. Like, originally it was, you're going to get cut, and that was fine. Look, tell me, let me know. I can go and organize other things. But then it was actually November of 2023 before they let me know, which was a little bit frustrating because if they told me before that, I probably could have lined something up for January and had a fight in January because my ban was only 9 months. I was out in January. And no, like, look, there was no supplement issue. I was offered a chance to win $1 million at a weight class above. And obviously, a lot of other guys felt the same way. They got a lot of middleweights and tried to make them light heavyweights, and a lot of guys used some supplements to get there. And I was one of them. So, no qualms, no fucking bullshit here. Did what I did, suffered the consequences. Here I am.
Well, credit to you for owning up to it and accepting those consequences. The only other thing I'll ask you about the PFL then is you're also a Bellator guy. You're a PFL guy. They did that head-to-head card. What did you think if you caught it? I think Bellator came out on top there. I think they were like 5-1 on the night.
Yeah, it was like there was some good fights that night, and I felt it was a little bit under promoted. You know, Johnny Eblin and Imprexania is a great fight, and turned out to be a great fight. But I just feel if the PFL are going to make this sustainable, and look, this is a lot more to do with execs and marketing and all that type of shit. But if they're going to make it sustainable, they're going to need to generate a lot more interest. That card generated, and I hope they can, and I hope that it ends up being a sustainable thing for them, and that the fighters can get paid well, and the guys can keep getting the opportunity to showcase their skills. But the biggest thing to me was just how little buzz it generated, considering some of the fights that were there.
Well, great jumping off point then. I don't disagree. So that takes us to Octagon. Octagon's been doing some interesting things in Europe. They are selling out arenas in Germany, obviously in the Czech Republic. They're going into the
Mm.
UK as well. How did you wind up making a decision to sign with them?
So my first experience with Octagon was with Paul Byrne, who was a fighter in Ireland. In 2017, he went over and fought at Tillavay. I think it was one of their first cards, maybe Octagon 2 or 3. And I was amazed at how professional the setup was. And at that stage, they'd sold out. I think it's the O2 Arena in Prague, like it's a tennis
Yep.
stadium originally. And the venue was class. The whole event was really well run. And I just thought these lads are doing something a bit different, and like they're quite professional about how they're going about things. And then I kept an eye on it. And I saw them going and doing, bigger and bigger shows and selling out. And, around Central Europe there, they're fucking big. And I was looking at some of the guys that they have fighting for them, and I was like, I would smash every one of these fuckers. So I thought it was huge. Like, look, it's a massive opportunity for me to go in there and kind of create a fan base and get a show back to Ireland. Is how I feel about it. And so far, I think the English Irish thing, they're kind of looking at it a little bit of a different angle. They seem to kind of want more shit talkers, reality TV stars. And look, I did a reality TV show in Africa years ago, like TF1, like back in 2017. But I'm not here to be some fucking wannabe celebrity. I'm a fighter. I love fighting. And I've shown over my career that I'm a very fucking good fighter and I have a lot more to show. So my whole buzz is get in there, smash a top 5 guy, which they're giving me the opportunity to do, which I'm very excited about, and then be me. And I think, like, because of the legitness, there's a fucking real character there. There's a guy who's been fucking in the gyms for 14 years doing his best to beat the shit out of everyone around them. And I can, basically. So, like, if you give me the opportunity to go and fucking showcase that, put me on a platform, and look, I'm not here to talk shit, but if you're gonna fucking tell me something that I don't think is true, I'm gonna fucking challenge you. And look, with Didi, he's been very respectful. He's been very like, humble and like, oh, Will Fleury's a great fighter. I admire his skill set. It's a mountain to climb to beat this guy, blah, blah, blah. Great. But like, I have to go in there and smash you impressively now because you put yourself as this massive underdog. So like, it's a good idea from his point of view to like go, oh, well, this guy should be smashing me. And I should because I am that good. But then it's like, right, go out there and smash the cunt. And afterwards, then it's like, okay, what's next? I'm excited. Like, there's a lot of excitement about what can happen here. I think there's a hell of a lot of potential to do something special. Like,
You definitely kind of answered my next question about Daniel Skiver there, and kind of touched on the next one, which is, you know, you do have Vamola out there with the title talking about maybe even retirement. And like you said,
mm,
if you go out there and you smash this opponent, make a big splash in your debut, do you think you can kind of jump into a fight with him, maybe get him to put off retirement? Or if he retires, how do you see things going? Because we now know Octagon likes to do the odd tournament. You got that $1 million tip sport game changer.
mm,
Again, you went after that $1 million chance once. Another opportunity could be in the offing there too.
yeah, I would like look. Myself and Carlos have a small bit of history. We trained in London Shoe Fighters years ago. So back in 2014, I lived in London for a little while, for about 2 years, and I trained with Carlos a little bit. One day we were sparring. He threw a huge overhand. He caught me with the overhand. My legs were a little bit bust up, like, or, I wobbled a bit, and he shot a single leg. I was hopping on one leg defending the takedown, and my ankle just fucking snapped. Um, I always wanted to get him back for that, and I've never had that opportunity, and that's over 10 years. Well, yeah, it's just on 10 years ago now. So to me, I would absolutely love that fight. Um, Obviously, I have to go in and smash Dan score first. That's goal number one right now. I know he's got the fight with Attila lined up, but man, if the Octagon can get that story out and promote it and push it, I'm at a level where I can smash him. I understand why he was probably not going to do it, but at the same time, if I can create that bit of a buzz and get it going, who the fuck knows what could happen? If not, yeah, cool. Let's do a tournament. Let's do something like that. Like, I'm more than happy to go and take on everyone in this division. And like, I think if we have any sort of fucking, you know, legitness competition, yeah, I smile. Like, Rafael Xavier is their number two guy or whatever right now, and Alex Popik's up there. Like, all the guys who are like close to that title, I've fucking either sparred, have sparred the two of them and smashed, or and Xavier's refused to fight me as well. So like, there's in a situation where people are forced to do something, I think, yeah, I'll get that title sooner or later. Um, but who knows how the politics of all this shit play out? Like, I think they need to make me something first, as in like, I understand that they want their guy who's fighting for the title to have a lot of buzz and interest about it. So give me the opportunity to generate that buzz. I'm not happy about being fourth on the fucking card in Birmingham. You know what I mean? They originally put me down as the main event, and then they put in all these reality star boys in front of me. And I'm just like, all right, if you want that shit, see how that sells. Because I don't think it's going to fucking sell that well. You promote some legit guy who's going to go out there and fucking smash people, yeah, it'll sell. You know? Like, I'm showing up to this fight in fucking circumstances that aren't ideal, and I'm going to go in there and smash it. So, like, yeah, yeah, let's see how it all plays out.
When you talk about them needing to make you into something and you talk about that reality star, and you kind of talked about this earlier actually, but do you kind of feel the need to go out there and get on the mic on top of smashing someone and making that statement in the ring? Do you have to kind of do both at this point?
Yeah, there's an element like, look, I think one of the good things that Octagon do is they build a narrative. And I think in any fight, you have to get people interested. Like, I gave a great, or, this just kind of happened organically, but I watched the odd Octagon card, and your man Youngworth, Christian Youngworth, like, he's not a great fighter. Like, he's pretty bog standard in what he does, and he's just got a lot of heart. But they made it so I cared about him. And if they can do that with a guy like him and tell that story and show who he is and show the character and build a narrative around it, then 100%, if you fucking invest a little bit of time, you can do that around me. So if they can make something like that happen, amazing. And then we can get like big shows. It's just for me to go out and show, hey, look, I'm this legit. I am a character. I can do these special things. Invest a little bit in me, and I'll put bums on seats eventually. You know, I think it's more. With most lads, like you scream for attention before you're kind of due it. And you see a lot of the guys now, they're trying to be Connor, they're trying to be fucking outrageous just for the sake of being outrageous. Whereas you look at a guy like, I think all the best examples of people who've blown up a shitload in the last couple of years, it's because they're legit fighters. You look at a guy like Hamzat, you look at a guy like Benoit Saint Denis, you know, the reason they've become huge, Ilya Tapur is another good one. It's because they have a fucking skill set. And then they can talk a little bit and they can be the character and they can be whatever. But actually, without the skill set, it's really not that interesting. And people turn off pretty quickly. So you might catch people with that shit once. Yeah, you might sell a couple of extra tickets because somebody's doing something a bit fucking outrageous. But you won't sell that 3 or 4 fucking times because nobody will give a shit eventually. You get a legit guy, yeah, you can consistently put bums on seats. And if you have guys come in that can challenge them, and look, there are people out there in this world who can give me a damn good fucking fight. They might not have, like, I'm not trying to be over the fucking top cocky here, but like, from what I can see right now, the guys they have in that division, I'll fucking smash every one of them. And I've no doubt about that. But they could bring in a few guys that would be like, "Ooh, that's a tough fight," you know? Like I think originally they wanted me to fight Tom Breeze, and Tom Breeze would be a good fight. Like I'd love that fight, but he's a legit fighter. It's a tough fight, you know?
Funny you mentioned Tom Breeze. He has actually stepped into the PFL now. I was actually going to ask you
Yeah,
for
so
examples of guys who you maybe thought did a good job of being legit fighters and also promoting. So I'm glad you mentioned those names like BSD, Benoit Saint Denis, and I actually got a chance to see him in Miami just last month. I'm going to ask you one more about the Vomola connection because you mentioned that, and it is a story that you can kind of go back and build something off of. But I'm assuming, when he said he threw an overhand right and then went in on the takedown, the ankle snaps, none of that was with hard feelings. It's just something that happened in the gym. Is there any personal beef there, or is it just it happened and you kind of like to get that back?
look, he's not the most talkative guy. We never had like buddy relationship. Um, and that happened. I wouldn't say we're like sworn enemies, but we're not best buds. You know, I've had a lot of training partners who I've been close with. He wasn't one of them. So like I'm not out to fuck his life up, but I wouldn't mind kicking the shit out of him.
Fair enough. I think that says
You
it
know?
all. I'll leave you with one last one before I let you go, and I really do appreciate the time today, Will,
Mhm.
especially with this big fight coming up. But just give us prediction. I know you said you're going to smash him. If you got a round or anything in mind, give us prediction for how this one plays out on April 20th at Octagon 46.
I know this is kind of a boring answer, but I don't get attached to things. So like I obviously visualize the fight sometimes. I see little sequences, but whatever opportunity presents itself on the night, I will take. And I have a mindset that's kind of willing to take whatever opportunity comes my way. I have a couple of little things in mind. Obviously, things have happened in the camp that have kind of changed what I've had to look for. But I'm very like I'm certain that something will present itself and that I will take the opportunity. And yeah, I see it being over by the second round.
Well, you say it's a boring answer. I prefer the honest answer, so I appreciate that. Looking forward to the fight. Again, it is April the 20th, Octagon 56. I think I said 46, 56 on April 20th. Going to be a good one. Will, thanks for the time today. Best of luck in the fight.
No worries. Cheers, man. Take care. Best
Have a
luck.
good one.